how to install WordPress on your computer. Today, we're going to figure out how to install WordPress on your computer as simply and quickly as possible, or how to set up any website. We'll start by going to wordpress.org and downloading WordPress. We visit the site, select Download WordPress, and choose the section where we want to save it. Once we've done that, the entire package will be downloaded at once, and we'll have everything we need to start working with WordPress. While the download is in progress, I suggest setting up a program called MAMP. First, we need to install it if we haven't done so already. It's a very popular tool, available on any operating system. What interests us about it is that it allows us to launch a web server, for example, Apache. To start it, we just need to press the Start button. In my case, it's already running, and I can see the green indicator showing that it's active. Now, our goal is to make it so that we can run our new site using MAMP, meaning on our local server. Let's try to locate the folder where MAMP is stored. Since I'm using a Mac, I can navigate to the directory where the server files are located. Essentially, MAMP is a web server that runs locally on your computer. It's like having your own personal hosting environment that you can use at any time. That's exactly what we need it for. To access the necessary folder in macOS, we go to Applications. Inside, we find the MAMP folder, and then open the htdocs directory. This is where we'll be working, as it's the folder where all local projects should be placed. Now, let's create a new folder inside htdocs and name it New Site WordPress. Once that's done, we open this folder and move our downloaded WordPress archive into it. That's our next step. We simply copy the file and paste it into our New Site WordPress folder. Once the archive is inside the folder, we need to extract it. Since it's compressed as a zip file, we just unpack it there. This process is identical on all operating systems, whether it's Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. The principle is the same. Now that the files are extracted, we enter the WordPress folder and check its contents. One of the most important files here is wp-config.php, or initially, wp-config sample.php. This file is essential because it's responsible for connecting WordPress to a database. We'll need it later during the setup process. At this point, let's restart our MAMP server. After restarting, I enter my admin password, and the server starts up again. Keep in mind that anytime you add a new website or project to MAMP, it's a good idea to restart the server to prevent any possible errors. Now let's open a browser and go to localhost. Since MAMP assigns a specific port number, we need to enter it. In my case, that port is 8888, so I type localhost 888. Once we do that, we can see that the server is running. Next, we need to navigate to our specific project folder, which is New Site WordPress. To do this, we enter localhost 88888/newsite-WordPress. At this point, we can see the folder's contents, including all files and even the archive we originally downloaded. But since it's inconvenient to navigate through extra folders, let's move everything from the WordPress subfolder directly into New Site WordPress. This will simplify our file structure and reduce unnecessary navigation. Once we've done that, we no longer need the original zip archive or the extra WordPress folder, so we can delete them. Now, when we refresh the page, the WordPress installation process begins. The first step is selecting the language, so we choose English, and restarting the server and setting up WordPress. Now let's restart our server. After it restarts, I enter my password, and at this moment, the server is starting up again. It's important to remember, whenever you add a new site or project to your server, you should always restart it. This is just a precaution to make sure there are no errors. Restarting the server will give us confidence that everything is running smoothly. Now, we need to visit our site from our computer. To do this, we open a web browser and type the address. Since we're using MAMP, the address starts with localhost, followed by a port number. In my case, the port is 88888. MAMP assigns this port automatically. It's part of its configuration. So to access our site, we enter localhost 888. Now we can see that the server is working. But our goal is to open the specific folder where our WordPress site is stored. To do this, we need to add the folder name to the address. This folder is where we placed our WordPress files, so we take its name and enter it in the browser. For example, if our folder is called Newsite WordPress, then the full address will be localhost 8888/Newsite WordPress. After pressing enter, we see the folder's contents. This includes all files and subfolders, and even the original WordPress archive that we downloaded earlier. But this setup isn't very convenient. Instead of keeping everything inside a separate WordPress subfolder, we can move all files to the main Newsite WordPress directory. So let's do that now. 1. Select all files and folders inside the WordPress directory. 2. Move them directly into Newsite WordPress. 3. Delete the now empty WordPress folder and the zip archive, since we don't need them anymore. Once we've done this cleanup, we go back to the browser and refresh the page. Now the WordPress installation process begins. Installing WordPress. The first step is to choose a language. I select English, and we see the Welcome to WordPress screen. However, before continuing, we need to set up a database. Creating a database. To do this, we open phpMyAdmin, which is included with MAMP. This tool allows us to create and manage databases. Every WordPress site requires a database. It's where all website content is stored. So we need to create one before continuing the installation. Inside phpMyAdmin, 1. We click on New to create a database. 2. We enter a name for the database, for example, WordPress DB. 3. We click Create to confirm. Now our database has been created. It's completely empty for now, but that's fine. WordPress will fill it with data automatically during installation. Configuring WordPress next, we need to tell WordPress which database to use. To do this, we locate the wp-config sample.php file inside our project folder. We open this file in a code editor. I'm using Atom, but you can use any text editor like VS Code, Sublime Text, or even Notepad++. Now we make a few changes to the configuration file. On line 23, we find the database name and replace it with the one we just created, WordPress Core DB. We set the DB username to root. We set the DB password to root. This is the default login for MAMP. After making these changes, we save the file and rename it from wp-config sample.php to wp-config.php. Now, we return to the browser, refresh the WordPress installation page, and continue the setup. Completing the installation. On the next screen, WordPress asks us to enter the database details. Database name, WordPress DB, username, root, password, root. Once we enter these details, we click Run Installation. Next, we need to create an admin account for WordPress. We fill in the following details. Username, this will be our login for the admin panel. Password, choose a strong one. Email address, this is used for password recovery. Then we click Install WordPress. Logging into WordPress. After the installation is complete, we can log into the WordPress admin panel. We go to the login page and enter the credentials we just created. Once logged in, we can see the WordPress dashboard. This is what